Molly Henn. I'm the president and CEO of Critical Business Analysis. I've worked construction my entire professional life and moved into the project management, project controls, software, construction consulting industry. Today I'm with Ashley and we work together. In our previous life,
I'm Ashley Stanger, owner's representative in the healthcare industry. Prior to my time here at Mercy Health, I was a construction manager for a large construction management and general contracting company. So I have a wide variety of experience in both owner's rep, construction management, and general contracting.
Today we're going to talk about what is the difference between an owner's rep, construction manager, and project manager. Working in the industry, from owners to even the trades within general contractor, working with people who are adjacent to a construction project, utility managers, designers, don't understand the difference between what a CM should be doing, what their role is in the industry, what project managers do, and how maybe that is different from the title construction manager, and what owners reps do in the industry. Ashley's a perfect person to talk to about this because she has been in all three roles in her professional career. Which one do you want to start with?
As an owner's representative, you're typically the trusted advisor to the client. You're acting as an extension of the owner and giving them the advice throughout concept, through construction and post-construction. I often think owners also have a hard time understanding what their owner's rep should be doing versus the construction manager. But your owner's rep is really that entity that's on extremely early, helping you with your capital planning. It's important to make sure that you have the right budget, the right schedule, and plan early on to facilitate a very good project in the end.
As owners or clients, people who are dealing with multiple millions of dollars or lots of capital planning, they confuse the two. As a general contractor, I saw that all the time. And I think that there's some pretty big differences. There's a lot of similarities, but there's some pretty big differences between what is an owner's rep and what is a construction manager going to do for me.
Yeah, a representative is more on the advice side, and your trusted advisor, their fee structure is typically a lump sum or hourly fee structure and not tied to the success of the project. They're also that entity that's on much earlier in supporting you and actually selecting your construction manager and your architectural and engineering team, which is also an important aspect because you got to have the right construction manager with the right skill sets and the right A&E team, and your owner's rep can help you do that. And then throughout the entire design and construction process, they're the ones sitting in the room with you and the stakeholders and helping you get through difficult challenges, answer specific questions about the construction project, whether that's selecting the right HVAC system and what that would look like as front cost, long-term cost, and comfort, and being in that room advising you without any skin in the game of the construction project.
If I'm an owner and I'm talking to a construction management company who's telling me that they can do or should be the only person in that owner's rep seat, what would I want to ask that CM company to help me as an owner differentiate, well, what are you really doing as a construction manager versus what you would be doing for me as an owner's rep?
It's great if you just have a CM, but when you come into a difficult situation where you might be having a conflict with the construction process or a construction issue on site, now you don't have that advisor that's helping you walk through what I would call just the bullshit and figure out exactly what direction you need to go to. So now you have someone that's on your team that you trust, that's advising you on a change order and who's responsible for what, or reviewing and negotiating a contract because they have your interest in mind and not your company's interest in mind.
Usually construction managers are hired with the expectation that the success of the project is also their success. Their contract is tied to that, which is what you're speaking to. An owner's rep is engaged, like you said, should be early on, not necessarily tied to the success, whatever success of that project is determined. But a construction manager's contract is often different from that because they are managing the entire construction project for the owner. So they are ultimately responsible for schedule, time, money, safety. Those things are usually not in an owner's rep contract. The safety part, right?
Right, yeah.
The ensuring that the project ends within the schedule that was built, at the beginning of the project, right?
Right.
An owner's rep really is that trusted advisor. You can find that in some construction management groups. I mean, I have done some jobs with some CMs that do have a better role of advising, but they are ultimately responsible for budget, schedule, safety, success of the construction project, whatever those goals are that are set with the owner early on. The jobs that I've worked on where there was an owner's rep and no CM, owners over time expected that owner's rep to become a CM and didn't have that clarity of, what would a CM do that this owner rep isn't going to be doing. And
Right.
and some of those projects the owner would then kind of come to the general contractor or the prime contractor and then expect the prime contractor to be a construction manager.
Yeah, so the construction manager really is, they're taking on the risk for the construction of the project, and then the schedule and duration throughout the project. However, the owner's rep is not taking on any construction risk. And then I guess some of those scope gaps, what does an owner's rep do that your CM might not be doing? So we go back to the project budgeting. The owner's rep is looking at the full project budget. So they're not just looking at the construction costs, but your furniture, your fixtures, your equipment, third-party testing, do you need any commissioning, your commissioning cost? That way you have someone that's looking at that full budget and not just focused on the construction portion. They're also working with your CM or your GC to coordinate when you're ordering all your furniture, fixtures, and equipment. One thing we often see is, we have all these integrated systems and someone's not advising that owner on, hey, during design, you really need to be getting all your equipment ordered, whether that's industrial equipment, healthcare equipment, or furniture, so we can integrate that into the design and pushing that along. So that's where you have that owner's rep that's stepping back and looking at that whole picture and not just focused on the construction from point A to point B.
I would say, too, in my experience, when an owner does not have an owner's rep and does not have a construction manager, they can get by with a good quality general contractor, because a good general contractor is going to do those things for their client from the beginning to the end. They will want to be paid for it, and that is often where I see a disconnect in negotiated work with a general contractor for a contract price, and then once the work starts moving along, now the owner is expecting that general contractor to be an owner's rep, to be a construction manager. And often that is not part of a general contractor's contract to begin with.
I think the biggest difference that I really see between a construction manager and the GC is just the amount of support maybe on the front end of the project. So I'd see a CM usually provides more pre-construction support, so you're getting that budget and constructability evaluation, and often I think we use those CMs when you have a project that has a lot higher risk or more complexity. When you want to pull in a construction manager to work right alongside your architect and engineer throughout the design process and continually provide budget, schedule, and phasing feedback. So they're just really looking at, a good example would be putting an ER addition on a hospital. You'd really want to pull in a construction manager to really start to look at how are we going to put this addition on, what is that phasing, advising your architect during that process, because that's going to change how these mechanical systems are going to be designed to maintain operations. But if you're just putting a simple pre-engineered metal cold storage building up, you don't need someone to advise the design team. You can just hire that general contractor to execute a good quality project.
When they're responsible for funding the project and they're responsible for the ultimate overall budget, you really want to make sure that the people you're working with and the team that you're building is experienced, understands what they're doing, has worked in that market before, knows the players. That's going to ensure the success of that project.
Yeah.
And asking for consultation from somebody like Ashley, an owner's rep, even if it's a piece of the project like Ashley's mentioned, or getting a consulting firm like CBA involved early on to help you identify players in the market wherever it is that you're building.